guys, welcome back to an exciting episode of All About You. In today's video, we will be discussing the Mecha Frieza errata. Yes, Bandai actually created an errata, which is gonna really, it kind of hurt the card a lot. So as you guys already may know, we have Mecha Frieza. So this one card has done so much in the format. It has won already 2 regionals. It has topped several regionals since it's released. And it just allowed you to play extra cards for free. So the first side of it allows you to play your extra cards that cost 1 or less for free. And that can be on your turn or your opponent's turn. The flip side allows you to play for a reduced cost of 2. So that means that you could play cards like Mafuba for 0. You could play cards like March for 2, something that costs 4. You could lower the cost down to 2. And any specified cost, if it costs 1 or 2 or less, it's free, period. So this card has made a huge impact in today's format, and unfortunately, it will be changed soon. In May, it will actually be changed to the following, which I'm going to actually read off, and you'll see it on the screen. Permanent. During your opponent's turn, when you activate an extra card, you may choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. If you do so, reduce the energy cost of that extra card by 1. So this time, notice how they errated it to only during your opponent's turn. So now you won't be able to play cards like Planet Vegeta, Manaka, and all the abundance of cards that would help aid you awaken early on in the game. So now, Frieza just became a defensive leader. He's no longer that offensive tyrant where he's super dominant and he's able to do so much for so little. Now, continuing with the effect. Okay, if this reduces the energy cost of that extra card to less than 1, you may activate the card without paying its specified cost, which is the same as the previous card. However, in bold text, if you use this skill to add a card in your life to your hand, negate this skill for the duration of the turn. So not only it's a defensive card, it's restricted to once per turn. That's terrible, guys. Like, it's nowhere near what this card was able to do. Now, the errata text for the Awaken side. As you guys already know, like I said before, it can reduce the cost by 2 to 0. Now, errata text. During your opponent's turn, when you activate an extra card, you may choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. Very similar. If you do so, reduce the energy cost of that extra card by 2 for the duration of the turn. If this reduces the energy cost of the extra card to less than 1, you may activate the card without paying its specified cost. Now, they actually didn't allow the card to be restricted to once per turn, so that's the only bright side to this card's effect. But let's face it, if you're already at 4 or less life, what can you possibly do multiple times as a defense mechanism to aid yourself? Possibly a Sensu being double times, maybe a Whis Coercion, maybe some form of negate, but not much, guys. Realistically speaking, they just changed this leader to a defensive leader with a basically a reduced effect, which is not going to be that useful at all. Before, Frieza could be played offensively and defensively. Now he's just a defensive leader with restrictions. And that's just with restrictions on the defense capability. That sucks. This is going to take an effect May 1st. So thankfully, we have one more major regional, which is going to be the San Jose regional coming up on the 14th and 15th of April of this month. And it's, you know, it's going to be its last hurrah. Frieza is going to dominate this format until it gets errated. This guy alone is extremely powerful. Without the errata, he's a monster. Now, I'm just going to go through a little phase of what I would have preferred his effect would have been errata to. Had it said either once per turn and you negate the effect text of that effect for that turn, would have been great. Once per turn, per player's turn. That's it. So you would still be able to use your free Manaka, your free Planet Vegeta, and all those other cards that help you awaken, but just once. So if you had a whole hand of them, it may not be advantageous for you to keep all of them, because all you really need would be like 2 and maybe a Bloodlust or whatever defensive package cards you run, and you would be set. But you couldn't just go bonkers and awaken and just do all these crazy things right away. Now, If they also would have awakened it, which actually I spoke to one of my teammates, Eric and Eon Hill, specifically Eon Hill, if they would have changed it to during your turn, so specifically during your turn to a once per turn effect. So it wouldn't work during your opponent's turn, no free Cold Bloodlust, no free Crusher Ball, no free defensive package cards, but solely to help promote your own game state. So on your turn, you would be able to play one free Planet Vegeta. Next turn, you would have to wait until your turn to play another free Planet Vegeta or any of your other free extra cards. And his suggestion would be that it negates the whole effect tax. So not only it would just negate that effect tax, it would also negate all the other effect tax such as Awakening. So imagine, from let's say 5 life to 4 life, you still couldn't awaken during that turn. I believe that would have helped the effect tremendously. You know, but Bandai decided to nerf it. There was a lot of complaints. I agree with reducing the card's power, but they reduced it to a point of almost no return. Yes, players will try to play with it, but let's be for real, there are other leaders that can play defensive package cards, such as SS3, that renews 3 energy. Sure, I'd rather just renew 3 energy and be able to play all the negates to my heart's content, as opposed to playing 1 card for free and still not even have a way to awakening. Because that's what made this card good. You were able to awaken right off the rip. You can't do that anymore, guys. So, unfortunately, this errata hurt this card to almost a point of unplayability. Yes, you will have some players that will test it out, but it won't really be that strong. On a side note, guys, I want to show you a little map that I won recently, which has been going on with the whole little Easter stuff. Thank you. I just recently won this just a day ago, and it was a fun thing. I literally went to a tournament just for this map. I felt a little bad though because there were a lot of players that wanted to qualify for like these upcoming ARG events, and some of them didn't get to. So I felt really bad about that. But overall, I really wanted the mat, and I was able to get it. And I have myself a free entry, I believe, on when I go to one of these events, because I also received a card that allows me to get a free entry, which I'm just going to show you real quick, which is really awesome that they are doing this for this game. Hopefully they do more things like that in this game, so it gives an incentive. So we have this. So as you can see, once it focuses, it allows me to pay for free. I don't have to pay for one of these ARG events, and again, it's held by ARG, you know. So it's pretty cool that they're starting to do this for this game. We just got to see what more they're gonna, you know, add on to it. But again, the whole Frieza ruling, or errata, so to speak, it really hurt the card. I felt like they should have just banned the card outright. If they were going to hurt it this bad, then they should have just banned the card and then bring it back at some point in the game when we meet Frieza. It would have been ironic because it could have been called a resurrection. You know, so you know how we have ban list in Yu-Gi-Oh! And, you know, a lot of other names. In Naruto, we have the rogue list, and we had like the bingo list where cards would be banned. In this game, they could have called it the resurrection list. You know, so Frieza could have been in the ban list, quote unquote, and he could have been revived for certain formats if we ever needed him. Or if they felt like the format was very powerful, so they could have just, you know, whipped them out and introduced them right in the format. That would have been better than just hurting his capabilities of being who he is. You know, he still had a weakness, but unfortunately he was too powerful. And I do agree with players complaining, but not to this extent. So guys and girls, when you want to complain about something, let's just take this as a little moral. Don't overdo it so that the company doesn't see like, oh, well, let's just rape the shit out of the card. You know, excuse my French, but you know, we don't want cards like this just getting hurt that bad. And I know a lot of complaints on Shugesh. Guys, we don't want Shugesh to be unplayable, so be careful with that. Because if Bandai keeps hearing this, then they're just gonna, you know, follow the crowd and take the card out of the count. And we don't want a company doing that, because that means that players have too much pull in the game, and that's going to affect how games are played, and that's just going to affect the overall like health of this game in general. You know, it's great that players can give their insight on what they feel is overpowered or what they feel is weak, but we don't want players single-handedly manipulating how the company runs their card game. If anything, let us see what Bandai had in store for us, because they actually said that there was other cards that are going to be faster. So guess what, guys? Now we're going to have a newer format when they do produce this, and it's going to be faster than this card, and we don't even have this card to combat it. Sad faces. So Again, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot from it. This errata will hurt the card drastically, so make sure you play it as much as you can. Have fun with the leader while it lasts. When you go to the next regional, he might be one of your favorite picks to play, because he won't be played pretty much after that point. So as always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to my content, and you already know this channel is all about you.